last session for our inspiration, which I only say because it is entirely possible in an epilogue to have to roll dice.
Uh, okay, all right. It happened one time.
And
One time.
actually, in my experience, twice, and I've ended 2 games.
I'll do it since I wasted all mine on getting that final kill.
Uh-huh, uh-huh.
Yeah, we fought this six-armed snake lady. She just appeared when we tried to break into a chest that didn't belong to us. And although everyone fought valiantly, it was Vakaris who got the killing blow, thanks to some shitty rolls. Then, um, then almost immediately after that was done, a cute little elemental dragon came in and started blasting everyone but me. Everyone was deeply wounded. Our cleric was stretched pretty thin, poor guy.
Uh-huh.
But we prevailed. And, and we were able to amass a small fortune. Everyone got 6,666 coin. Uh, and no more. Uh, and we are currently on our. Oh, I'm sorry. No, we also got. Gosh, what's it called? That submarine thing. Apparatus to Qualish.
The reason
Uh,
for coming here.
yeah, and we decided what we are going to do with it, which is give it as a gift to the Archfey. Um, uh, that's about it. That's where we left off, I believe, if I missed anything.
That's the long and short of it. Uh, yeah, okay, so that leaves you guys on the boat, which I only say to offer anyone who needs time to do any communications while on the boat. You now have the space to mention so. Mention anything.
Yes. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, I know. I'm not exact. It's not a surprise.
I love you, Ted.
Um, First, Zashel goes to find Lucky,
Okay. She spends
which
a lot of
is
the time while on the decoy in the captain's quarters.
okay. This interaction is real quick because I just need what I really need is a chaperone for a visit to Vakaris.
Yeah, not a problem.
It's basically just, hey, can I need to talk to Vakaris? Can you come with me? I could explain, but I mean, I feel like it's pretty evident at this point why.
Doesn't even need to say anything. She follows along.
The conversation does also include you, Lucky. It's sort of a question about the future of our franchise and everything. Um, I, uh, I'm trying to figure out the everyone's plans once we have uh, gone to the Feywild. I suppose this conversation could have waited till we know how that works out for Vakaris, but I wanted to get his input before we get there.
Yeah, sure.
Where is
Vakaris,
Vakaris?
where do you hang out while sailing?
I'm normally either at the front or the starboard side. Um, 'Cause
Really?
I just like the wind.
Okay. Interesting. Starboard is just such a specific side.
For some reason, it just popped in my head that he wouldn't like the port side. I don't know why.
Hmm. Fascinating.
Yeah,
We're
I
still
love
learning.
Ah,
I love
We're
this
still
lore.
learning.
Yeah.
okay.
I think also,
Okay.
didn't he keep the right shoe? So, like, canonically, he prefers the right of
I
things.
think he. Oh, maybe he chucked the left. Oh, I don't
I believe
remember.
so. Yeah.
Okay.
Huh.
Interesting. Hmm.
It's literally something I
Inexplicable.
just came up with, guys. It's not. I haven't been playing anything here.
This
Thought it,
is a 2-year-old joke.
All right, sorry.
thought it
All
was
right.
just because it had the word star in it. Like,
My baby's a star.
All right, so Lucky and Zash will find you on the starboard side of the vessel, just feeling the wind, the
Mhm.
cold. It's so cold.
Vicaris, do you have a moment? I'm
Um,
just trying to take stock of what the possible future for the franchise is following our visit to the Feywild.
um, I do. In fact, he looks around. Got nothing but time right now.
Perfect. With Yop having said that she plans to leave fairly soon, uh, I'm trying to gauge where the full founding members of the franchise are, how the future for this franchise looks. We know that Null has business with the Fate Weaver um, at some point. I suppose I should have included him because I've forgotten the specifics, but neither here nor there. If you are comfortable discussing it, do you have do you plan to stay on, or do you have other things that have caught your attention? If we are able to restore your standing with Chandria and Astrazalian, do you intend to stay?
Oh, I guess I don't know. There's a lot of factors right now that kind of play into all this. Um, as it stands now, I don't currently have a home outside of the lighthouse, so likely I'll be staying there for the foreseeable future. Um, I do have a proposal for the lady herself, and perhaps if that goes through, um, then I will be in the immediate area, and I don't see any reason to leave the franchise, depending on what the franchise is doing or where the direction they are headed is going. Um, I guess the third option is to have uh, the oh my god, I can't think of the word exile completely lifted. In which case, uh, well, if the exile is lifted and I have a seat on the council, I see no reason to push it back any further, lest I mess things up again. So I don't think I currently have an answer for you, but two out of the three, and two of the more likely out of the three, looks like I'm staying on. Looks like you're both stuck with me.
I
Uh,
think we'll
do you
manage somehow. Uh,
do you have any idea what the direction the franchise is taken?
Honestly, the sort of first point that sort of comes to mind that isn't really even an important point, but feels also somehow the most immediate is that once Yop goes, that would leave nearly an entire level of the lighthouse empty. And
Mm,
honestly, there would be more rooms there for lost members than active members. I think we should consider keeping our arrangement with the major, but moving our operational facilities to the King's Cross
mm.
instead of the lighthouse. Assuming that is okay with you, Lucky, given that it was your your home before it was any of our facility. Well, yeah, I mean, yeah, you live there.
Um, I mean, it's certainly big enough with that extra help from head office. I mean, I wouldn't be opposed. There's not as many private quarters, but I'm sure that's something that could be afforded.
I mean, I'd still be living in the lighthouse, right?
If you wanted, yes. Like I said, I see no reason to give up our arrangement with the major. Um, After all, we have several training facilities built, and uh, well, to put simply, one of our members is interred there. So I don't want to lose that, but
Yeah, I kind of like the idea of having home life and work life separate, although since both of you stay at the there, um, it'd be kind of shifting it, but I've always liked the idea of going to work, not sleeping where you work.
Josh will just sort of
That
looks
would
around
be
at the boat.
yeah, Lucky just says that would be a first for me actually.
Hmm. um, I don't know. Is that a good enough answer?
Yeah, yes. There wasn't really any solid expectations. I just was trying to gauge where things are going. Um,
Yeah, I
I
wish I
asked,
had a better answer, but the council has always been the goal and always will be the goal.
well, hopefully we can. We haven't always gotten, or really ever. Well, we've had a few moments of getting along, but regardless, you are one of our franchise, and it is on all of us to help each other achieve their goals. You all have helped me with the mission that I have been on, and it is complete. So we will do. I will do. I feel like I'm comfortable saying it for everyone, but I won't. I will speak only for myself, saying I will do everything I can. Um, I know things have been rough between us on several occasions, but that has never stopped. It well, I hope you understand what I'm trying to say. That while we're while we're there, anything you need, I will, as I try have tried at least to do, I will have your back.
Vicaris looks a little confused when you first start, um, and a little taken aback. Um, and I lost what I was going to say. Damn it. uh, I don't know. Perhaps you can help me. How specifically did I help you on your mission? And then he gives you like a really sly smile, as he is clearly looking for a compliment from you specifically.
Specifically, well, um, all of our efforts with the Sea Princes, you did. Uh, I do remember one of the guards that you that you uh, s- s- tried to, I suppose, steal for yourself. His killing me. Um, I thought that was pretty funny. But also just everything we have done. This, however many. Every time I think about this, I want to say years, but it's only been months.
It does feel like a very long time. Well, I appreciate that sentiment. Um, is there a reason uh, Lucky's here?
I think
I
I'm supposed to mediate.
Ah,
She hefts the baseball bat up to her shoulder and winks at you, Vicaris.
ah,
I
right, right.
yeah, I wanted this to just be a conversation between Acquisitions Incorporated employees. If you take my meaning.
Yeah. Um, I don't think it's necessary anymore. I mean, don't get me wrong, I don't trust you with my life, but I think we've moved on to the point where I can talk to you alone, especially if it's in an open space like this.
Hmm.
I'm just saying, don't be uncomfortable around me. And he looks suddenly very extremely uncomfortable.
I never really have been, but I appreciate the sentiment.
All right, well, appreciating sentiment aside, uh, uh, you have my answer. Anything else?
No, I think that will do for now.
All right.
Hopefully, we
Well,
will. Well, we'll see where things stand once we have visited Astrazalia, and I look forward to it again. It was
yeah,
good to see Bishop, however briefly, in the styes. So perhaps we will have some time to actually catch up.
yeah, it looks like it'll be fun. He looks kind of sad.
All right. Anything else anyone needs to do?
Yeah, I actually did want to talk to Lucky on the way, wherever the hell else on the boat.
Okay, that's fine.
I just figured I'd get the chaperone visit out of the way first. Just as they're walking through the decks, over the main deck, I guess, still outside. Not that I'm judging, but the bat
Oh,
is
Vicaris made it for me.
okay. That yeah, that tracks. Is there something? Uh, is there something that I need to know? I mean, when we were fighting those things, I've never. This is going to sound judgmental, and I promise you that I don't mean it this way. I don't mean it to be, but I've never seen you back down from a fight. But when we were down there,
There's a moment where she like squares her shoulders to like look at you, but that's played very humorously for a moment as she immediately relaxes. Um and avoiding your gaze just remarks, I seem to have lost my gift.
I
Don't really know another way to explain it, but I would be surprised if even the name Lucky sticks around much longer.
oh, that's that's kind of unfortunate because I had sort of liked the idea of having the name Lachlan to myself. Um, okay, well,
I mean, I don't know that anyone's going to call me anything else. I'm just saying that it's always been the case that that was important to myself and my crew, my family. And I mean, we have a very skilled crew here and mostly a guild of entirely proficient sailors. She side eyes you.
he does his best to not immediately look down at his feet.
But I mean, I can feel a difference, and I would be surprised if the crew did not also. It was something that Mom always said was palpable, noticeable, made her feel comfortable. There is just something that feels gone now.
Well, one, for what it's worth, I had to ask, so I mean, I could just be oblivious. That's certainly tracks with me every now and then. Um, but I don't think that it's, well, I mean, obviously I can't know what it's like to feel that way, not yet. Um, but no one here will, it's not like anyone here will think less of you or anything.
Yeah, just, it sucks to feel everyone has a role, and when you can't, we were underwater, and there's a lot that I'm used to being able to do underwater. And that thing ripped you guys apart and kept coming for me. There wasn't anything I could do about it. That's a new feeling.
We'll just have to find a new way. That's all. And we'll all help.
She smiles. Anything else anyone needs before you can get home?
Yeah, no, I'm kidding.
Breshter, with the help of some of the other crew members or people here, has taken down, like, I don't know, like a tuna or something, right? And it's
Okay,
like,
sure.
Okay.
yeah. I mean, it, like, like we all do magic. It can't be hard to kill a fish.
Sure.
I don't
Yeah.
think the killing's the part of it that startled me, but go on, go on.
Yeah. So
Your
it's
side
just
can get a fish.
right. It's been described that there are like salvage hooks, right? So it's like up on like a hook, and she's just taking time, like with the scythe, like slicing chunks off, so they flip in the air for Uryx to like jump and catch and eat them. Um, and she sees Zashel and um, Vicaris speaking, and as she like cuts and Uryx is like chewing a bit, she watches them for a moment as they break off, looks at Uryx and goes, "I thought they were gonna kiss for a moment. I swear."
Perfect.
That's it.
Okay. Anyone else? Great. Then, the vessel finds its way much faster this time, back to the little island with your much cleaner, much well plastered, and well guarded lighthouse. You dock, and there's some concern about whether or not to leave the apparatus of Kowalsh on deck or bring it like bring it onto land, but like it makes no difference either way. You just have to move it again anyway, theoretically. Like, it's just gonna be a pain. So you leave that to the crew. And what would be everyone's first orders of business as you return home?
Check in with Abernathy.
Abernathy reports that there has been some light work being done by by interns and such around town, helping with general bounty hunter efforts. Also, just some roadside guardship being volunteered and done outside the city and in smaller hamlets around. Just ordinary business as usual, nothing concerning. Just general money making.
Excellent. We mission successful. Got the thing. Probably heading to the Fae as soon as we are settled.
Excellent, excellent. Why?
This
To
one
help the
really
Karis.
need a reason to go to the Fae. It's just a wonderful place.
I'm just asking. It's my responsibility to make sure that all of you.
That's fair. We are delivering a gift.
Ah, ah, excellent, and very well. Continue, I suppose. Well, do you have means of getting there?
Officially, not quite yet, but I think we have certain inroads to make there. Yes. Because there's
Excellent.
also the long way that the Silverstand elves have to take now, but
Isn't that only available to you in the springtime?
maybe.
Regardless, let me know when you leave, and I'll make arrangements. Well, not for your travel, but for your absence.
Yeah, well, thankfully it'll be the last time I have to see that horrible place. Joshua! Joshua, don't say a word. I need to inform you that the franchise will be taking a brief trip to Askerzalia, and when I return, you and I will have a bit of work to do before I leave the franchise for good.
Oh God!
Anything that is left in my workshop is entirely yours. If you so desire, I can put in a good word for you, and perhaps you can become a franchise member in my stead. But if you'd rather move on, that is entirely your choice.
He's visibly sweating and hyperventilating before he passes out.
Oh, dear. Betty, come here and wave your beak over his face. And we will
That's
just
such a
do our
wild
best.
visual. She has wings.
I think they might be a little sharp.
Fair. He eventually comes to.
It'll be okay, Joshua. You've done wonderful work for me, and I know the others here at the franchise like you very much. And there's still time. We have plenty of time to figure out what it is you would like to do in the future.
Okay. Yes. Okay. I'd like that.
Wonderful. Yes, well, I guess that's it. Perhaps you should go to my workshop and start taking inventory.
Yeah, okay. He scurries off. Like as he runs out, he almost runs into Missy, who's hauling laundry outside, and she just kind of shakes her head and rolls her eyes as he scurries past her. Okay. Anyone else need to make note of anything before you contact your friend?
Uh, if we have time, I'll do one last check-in with Liru, because I don't know how much the time fuckery is going to be while we're there, so just, letting her know I'm going.
Yeah, no problem. Yeah, you can go in and check in, let her know what's happening. Gives you a hug and sends you on your way.
Not much adorableness in the background. I don't want anybody to say anything.
He's just dancing in the mirror to himself, that's all.
Even better.
Yeah. Okay. Who is summoning Bishop? I'm assuming that's the way you're planning on going.
Did I ever add another name to my sending page? I should look that up.
who is responsible for your travel?
That's a real good question.
Yeah, I don't know.
Oh, God.
It occurs to me, there is another way we could do this, Vicaris. Rather than contacting Bishop, we do know someone else who can get us there.
Well, I mean, what's wrong with contacting Bishop?
Well, we don't know if Bishop will answer, for
True.
one. I mean, I think we should try that first, but if it doesn't work...
What's... Am I to guess?
Our mutual acquaintance. That might cost us a little more, but we'll try Bishop first and see how this goes. Do I just shout Bishop?
Was that an in character or out of
Yes,
character?
that was 100% in character.
Okay.
Yop's been running around in front of the lighthouse for the last 20 minutes just screaming Bishop.
Does someone... Okay, real talk. Does anyone have the tattoo that lets you summon
I do
Bishop?
still, yes.
Okay.
I've only used the one card, so I have one more even after this.
I thought you still had one, but like I was getting worried by how long that silence was. I was like, have I been? Uh-oh.
Don't have
Okay.
3 charges ever? Does it ever recharge?
There's only 3 charges.
Oh, unfortunately.
Yeah, it's a spell rot tattoo. So do you do it?
I do, yes.
Okay, great. So in a sunrise of color, Bishop appears in the center of a summoning circle, which then fades into the floor. I will just say, oh God, son. I will just say that everyone is gathered together with the intention of traveling, so you are all in the commons of your lighthouse together. As he smiles at each of you, he then like abruptly his smile falters as he looks down his nose at Vicaris. And
Vicaris gives a sheepish response to that.
he then looks back at Zashel with a smile and says, "What may I help you with?"
We have a gift we'd like to deliver to the Lady Chandria. It is rather sizable, and none of us can cross the planar walls on our own, so we were hoping we could enlist your help to deliver this. And he gestures towards the apparatus. To deliver this particular item, and several of us have business within Astrazalian that we would like to take care of while we were there.
He seems... Oh, continue.
I understand that there is some I know the last time he was there, Vicaris did not represent the franchise well, shall we say. But he does seek to make amends, and so I am hoping that with the gift that we have brought for the lady, that considerations could be made.
Yeah, I appreciate the sentiment, but if I don't know, it might be asking too much. You guys can go on without me.
It's worth
It
the ask.
is. It is also not up for myself to decide. That would be the princess and the council's decision. I could, however, suggest that this gift is perhaps considerable and may go a long way in extending the invitation to return.
Well, I mean, if it's not too much trouble.
I could assist in bringing this to Astrazalian, though I cannot guarantee that you would be allowed entrance until the issue has been addressed.
I mean, just to even be considered, that's more than enough. Thank you.
He nods.
How long would it take for the council to deliberate about, would you say? If it is a reasonable enough time, perhaps we could all accompany the gift, and we will simply wait with Vicaris until a decision has been reached.
Oh no, you all have plans. You don't have to change them on my account. It's fine. Just let me know how it is over there. Yeah.
All of you ought to be present at the presentation of the gift. Only those who are exiled will not be permitted to attend.
Yeah, it's hard to put in a good word if you're not actually there, right?
He nods, but he offers a pleasant smile as he does so as well.
Oh man, that was not in character.
If you should all like to attend, then I recommend entering the circle. That he indicates with his finger, that then in pink light encircles the ground around the apparatus.
Yop and Betty walk into the circle.
Right before they do, Vicaris pulls on her arm.
Hmm?
I have something, and I would like you to deliver it for me, if that's all right with you.
Oh, certainly. And to whom will I be delivering this?
It's for the Lady Chandria herself. A personal letter, as is. So it's not a secret or anything. It's just very important to me that it makes it to her specifically.
Very well. I will do everything I can to see that it gets in her hand.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
And as much as I loathe going there, I can't wait to see you there with us. I'm sure it will be soon.
So you're saying there's a chance you might return one day? And he has a big smile on his face.
No, I'm saying once we get you there, I never have to go back.
Right. Okay, well.
As all of you step close to the device, the bishop steps up as well, his feet on top of the arcane sigils beginning to crisscross under your feet. And as the light begins to swell and swallow your vision, Vicaris, you see the flaring light of a brilliant sunset, and then the darkness of twilight as they vanish. And everyone else appears in the teleportation chambers of Astrazalion, which, if you recall, requires surfacing from a pool. There is some light business of Bishop calling other servants to maneuver the apparatus through the chamber halls and then into the castle. The sky outside is dark. You see a sunset that is deeper than the sunset that you remember from this place. It is significantly darker, and there are even stars that twinkle from the windows. Um, and there is also darkness in the city below, very low lights. Even though there is clearly life down there, there is much stillness. And the castle itself is populated almost entirely by armored fae. Even the beautiful and luxurious courtiers that you've seen in the past wear armor. And as you walk, as quiet as he does move, even Bishop jingles with the sound of plate mail under his robes. And you are brought once again to audience chambers, to the audience chamber door. Anyway, it is closed. Bishop reports that you must wait a moment as the princess must be summoned. He insists that this is not as inconvenient as it may sound, and that the presentation of a gift of a kind would certainly attract her attention.
Bishop,
And
what
yes,
happened?
what happened?
What is going on? We have been to Astrazalion twice before, and it has never, even with the Fomorians, looked like this.
It is merely midwinter. It is the war that we are always in.
Huh.
It will get very dark before we return to the material plane. There are some who proclaim that the skies of the Feywilds do not move, but I have seen them change. It is always incredibly, deeply dark before we are allowed to see the sun.
I see. I misunderstood. I thought when we were here last time that we had seen the last of, well, not the last of, that we had perhaps a decisive blow in that conflict. I was unaware it continued to rage on this long. For us on the material plane, it has been some time.
Yours and your allies and the allies of the princess have done a great service to this great city, but this war is eternal. And with that, he walks away down the halls and is quickly vanishes amongst the other filing bodies. You are left waiting for some time.
Is everyone cool with my warg?
Yeah.
Cool.
And that's not me just being dismissive, but like there are other war mounts of kinds that are not necessarily being like herded or directed through here, but there are clearly some nobility that do not dismount upon entering the castle.
As we are, he walks away, right? In those moments afterwards, Vestra's very excitedly looking around and says, "It's just like in episode 61."
You better not have looked that up. I would be furious.
It's Road Trip Faye, episode 61, 62.
Awesome. Fucking awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Super fan.
Oh, you motherfucker. Okay. Excellent. Yes, you are left for some time before Bishop returns, saying that you will be seen now. And the doors, almost as soon as he finished speaking, swing open to the glamorous hall that you recognize, the decor of which has not changed in its slightest. Only its attendants have. Once again, um, armored, defensive, and even some injured. And amongst them, at her dais, is the princess herself, sitting as if she has merely only just now dropped into the great throne. Her skin broken and torn, her breathing is ragged, but there is a light in her eyes of someone who is fucking jazzed, absolutely enthusiastic, physically tired, but um, uh, aptly aware of her surroundings and how invigorated she is feeling. Um, and she sits up as the doors open, and her hand raises to you all and she says, "Welcome once again, my friends. And I understand that it is a gift that has brought you to my chambers. I express my gratitude to see friendly faces, and under such excellent circumstances."
The Lighthouse franchise of Acquisitions Incorporated sends its greetings. Nope, that's not right, Ted. Extends its greetings. We hope that everything in the war effort goes well, and offer, of course, as always, what services we can while we are here. Indeed, we do come bearing a gift, an artifact dredged from the waters outside of Waterdeep on the material plane. I hope it will prove useful for you, and we the specifics of which my compatriot here can explain at a convenient time for you. And he gestures to Yop, who was cataloging the levers and such.
Yeah.
Bright eyes
What,
turn to Yop, yes.
yeah. What excellent circumstances are you talking about?
Merely that things are well here in Astrazalian,
Yeah.
and that you have come in such pleasant circumstances.
Yes, it's quite nice, isn't it? And as you noted, always nice to see friends. But if you're observant, you will notice that one of your
One of you.
friends. Yes, one of your friends isn't here. Kralik, who I believe, I know he regarded you as a friend. Well, Kralik is no more. Kralik will never be coming to see you again.
It has been reported to me, yes.
Well, and as I understand it, he wasn't welcome here anyway.
Her brow crosses.
You, for whatever reasons you may have chosen to banish he and Vicaris from your home. And
The Zayashant boy.
are you going to act as if you don't know who Vicaris is?
She clearly knows who you're talking about, but her tone is one of confusion. Or not, she knows who you are talking about, but her tone is one of confusion.
Well, if in fact Kralik was your friend, and if in fact They were both banished from here. There's not much that can be done for Krelik at this point, but perhaps in his memory, you could take it to reconsider Vicaris' fate.
And I'll walk forward with the envelope extended, or the letter that Vicaris wrote extended.
She makes no attempt to mask her confusion as she steps up to take the letter and continues to regard you as her hands open it and she begins to read it. Doug, have you sent me this already?
No, it's in the chatter.
Okay. Did you already post it?
Yes.
Okay, then I have read it. Okay.
It's also what we discussed a long time ago.
Yeah. She reads it over and she says, "By what authority have Krelik the Red and Vicaris Xylashent been banished from my realm?"
Yop, like half under her breath, and like fully turns her back on Chandria and is just walking back towards the rest of the group and is like,
If those two sons of bitches were so drunk that they didn't realize that they were just asked to leave for the moment and not forever, I'm gonna lose it.
Satchel just fully busts out laughing.
Yop turns around. I'm sorry
Now,
for whatever misunderstanding there may have been.
Hold on. Bishop, when we asked a moment ago to be transported here, it was made clear that perhaps Vicaris should not join us. Can you
Yop
fill in
Bishop-
some of the...
Bishop
Yop
is...
screams Goodfellow and runs out of the room with Betty.
Bishop makes a vague step forward to stop you, and says he's not here. And he has also a sincere look of confusion, and he looks up at Chandria with a flicker of shame in his confusion as he just says, "As I understood it, it was an order from the Twilight Council that these two should not be allowed to enter the walls again." And she says, The council spoke on my behalf as to who may or may not enter the walls of my city." And he shrinks, and his ears fall, and she begins speaking in Sylvan in a harsh tone. Noel, you hear that she is telling someone to fetch someone else. Oh, okay.
I still have a courier.
Oh, yes. And what ensues shortly after this is there is someone who is brought also into the chamber halls. A slight individual, tattooed head to toe, in the grave color of winter, an Eladrin individual who, for those who understand it, and even for those who don't, there is a furious argument between the two of them. And when I say furious, the Eladrin individual maintains his composure as much as physically possible as Chandria visibly, elementally rages at him for speaking on her behalf and barring some of her dearest and most trusted material planers, some of the people that she has found to be the most appropriate company and better understanding and sympathetic creatures that have ever crossed her threshold from entering her home. And it is a furious and terrifying rage that you are seeing this bloodied warlord batter against this stone wall of a courtier.
Mr.
And
Flushes.
And then abruptly in common, Chandria says, "This ban on Xylashent and Krellick for their eternity shall be lifted. There shall be no other following me or proceeding in any matter that should ever reinstate such." And there is a depth of her tone that echoes in the halls, and the lights darken as her hand grips her great sword, and it is set once again against the ground, and the hollow thud of its steel against stone shakes the floor, and it is undone. And there is a cold silence between the two of them as the frost around Chandria's feet begins to melt and creep back towards her, and the singed tapestries on the wall cool, and the Eladrin scowls at each of you before turning and leaving without a word more.
Yop will turn to Noel and say,
Well, I guess the place isn't that bad.
We'll give you a transcript later.
Thank
It
you.
was most illuminating.
Wonderful.
I did learn several new curse words in Sylvan.
Yes, that was not.
Even though I just gave the long and short, there's also the information is made plain that the council made to blackmail Krellick and Vicaris from ever coming back in, thinking that if they had reported what they had seen to Chandria, she would for sure ban them, and it would forever mar their reputation with her. Apparently that doesn't matter, but some people might have known that about her already, because, I mean, you guys have hung out with her for a little bit now.
Well, I guess under the circumstances, if it's not too much trouble, might we get Vicaris or Bishop? Would that be too taxing on you?
Bishop is sweating, and he nods furiously and leaves the chambers as quickly as possible. And about 15 minutes later or so, he reappears with Vicaris.
'Twas a hell of a letter, Vicaris.
I can only imagine. I assume that means you'll take me up on my offer?
Your offer is substantial. It may prove to be an important alliance. Someone as yourself may not traditionally serve on my council, but I am the one who makes the law here.
I mean, it's enough just to be invited back.
You have done me a great service in the past. Humiliate me as you have, certainly, but that may only be expected, and it will happen again, as likely it will certainly be the case that I should share that burden with you in the future. You are young, and if you wish to join me on the Council of Stars, there will be time enough.
Yeah, of course. In any way that I can serve Molly.
The first of which, she says, would be to accept this gift on behalf of your... What is that word you use? French fries?
Franchise.
franchise. Yes. Accept this gift. And should you have opportunity, it should be brought as a favor to the Court of the Sea. It will be a boon to some of them and our own people in trade and communion.
In Sylvan, I will say, Lady Chandria, may I pass to you a missive?
You may.
I write something down, but then use Illuminator's tattoo so that nobody can read it besides her.
Okay.
I will send you via Discord.
Okay.
Vestra leans into Vicaris a bit and says, "Do you think you could, like, make an introduction?"
Oh, of course. Is there a proper name that you go by? Or is it just Vestra Kaden?
Vestra Caradin, Doomblade of Kelemvor.
You see him taking notes. Doomblade of Kalimvor. Anything else?
Like totally cool and kick ass.
Right. If you don't hear me say that, just know that I whispered it to her.
Okay.
The lady, I know he wasn't. I know she wasn't here before, but I would like to introduce to you Vestra Kaden, Doomblade of Kellenville. She has been integral in our endeavors shortly after we left, and I believe she in the future could be a great asset. And he'll kind of move out of the way and gesture towards Vestra.
She looks up over the note at you.
Vestra just takes a few steps forward and puts an arm across her plated armor and kind of bows a little bit, and looks up at her and says, "It's a real pleasure. You're so much taller in person."
She briefly appears to swell in size even more as the world around her shrinks.
Oh,
She nods. Clearly you are not like at a social level where she can say like the pleasure is mine, but like she is acquiescing that like, hey, how's it going?
Yeah. Cool. I turn back to Vicaris and she looked at me and everything.
Right. In what is the greatest of all compliments, she just gives you a sup.
Yeah, a little nod.
She continues reading the note and then says to you, says out loud, Null, my powers do not extend in any degree that might assist in this manner, and neither do any of my proper alliances. However, if there be something that I might do, I should do it.
Yeah, Noel just nods. Like scratches his chin for a moment, then just nods with very clear satisfaction. That's a pretty decent answer as far as it goes. Noel
It's a
knew damn
promise
well
without
what he
being
was.
a promise.
Yeah, Noel knew damn well what he was doing, so it's pretty good.
Should you fancy some time spent in Astrazalian, you are welcome to take it. However, recall that we are at war, and many of the material pleasures that many of your kind seek in my city will be withheld.
We understand. While my companions may have some business, I myself merely came to deliver this gift. I am happy to use my powers, such as they are, to assist in the healing of your soldiers while I am here.
Your generosity will be appreciated. Is there anything else anyone wants to do in the Feywilds, or say to the princess before you are dismissed?
Well, the only business I have left is with my old friend, the Prince of Hearts.
Her eyes narrow.
Yop's eyes narrow.
You fraternize with that fiend?
I wouldn't call it fraternization.
Rather the opposite.
She looks as if she is waiting for you to expand.
I have a gift for him.
You bring a gift for myself and a gift for one of my most loathed rivals. Curious trip you are on.
I think you would like this gift for him more than he will.
I would be more than willing to extend assistance in taking you to him, should that be what it is you require.
Oh, that would be wonderful.
Bishop? And he nods.
Whenever you're
Anything-
ready, Bishop.
All right. Anyone else need anything they need to state doing? Who's all going with Yop?
I'll go.
I mean, I want to watch.
I did want to actually, now that I think about it, speak briefly to the Prince of Hearts, but yep, okay.
Better get it in quick.
Yeah.
I would want to go just because everyone else is going, and I'm along for the ride.
Right. You could hang out here, but very well. Bishop leads you back to the teleportation chamber, takes you to a different quarter of the room, one that is more inviting and a lot more glamorous, where the archfey usually are brought through. And takes you to one where he stirs the water in the pool before leading you all through. And as you part with the waters, you arise out of a small pond out in a field in a valley with mountains on either side, very soft rolling hills, grasses of pink and red, vibrant trees that have golden leaves and deep purple bark, and a sky that is absolutely black with beautiful, brilliant stars swirled through a visible galaxy above you. And before you stands the entrance of a cave that looks as if it is folded right into the hills. The interior of it is pure, glistening, and almost glowing amethyst. The floor is polished and smooth, and the walls twinkle in stalactites of gem. And Bishop leads you into this cave that is faintly illuminated by crystal and torchlight that twinkles in vibrant, warm pink tones.
This fucking guy.
Down you go, and you can feel the ground sloping beneath you before you are brought into a chamber that feels vast and also dark and broad in the way that sitting next to a hearth can make you feel whole and warm. This place is very pleasant. The center of it is lit by a fire pit that is carved out of this glistening stone, and sparks and almost every once in a while jumps up so high as to nearly touch the ceiling before receding down almost like a fluid, matching the pink and purple tones of the earth and stone around you. And out of the darkness, the glistening stained glass figure of the Archfey himself, attended by armored guards, strides into the room. He seems to be working something with his hands, which then melts away as he approaches you all. He says, "Greetings. I was not expecting company this evening. Company of your kind, at least. But we are always welcoming visitors here."
Well, it's nice to be back in your company. As you can see, I've brought some of your friends with me.
He smiles and waves in your direction, turning his head towards you, but his eyes drift.
Well, I brought you a gift today.
And I'll hold the box out with one hand on top and one hand on the bottom of it and walk towards him.
Really? He moves with one hand to gesture for his one of his guards to retrieve it for him.
Oh, well, I don't think you'd want your guards or really anyone to touch it.
And I'll put it down on whatever table is close to me.
You see, within that box is a death plant. As soon as you touch it, instantly die.
How tempting.
Yes, well, you see, this is what honesty looks like. If I was like you, I would have just offered you the wrapped box and been on my way, and said, "Oh, well, I never lied to Goodfellow." But you see, I know the value of friendship, and friends are truly honest with one another. So I am letting you know, do not touch what is in that box. Now, what you can do in return for this gift is you can figure out how to dispose of it. It's too dangerous to leave in the material plane.
He contemplates and then recalls one of his attendants to retrieve the box delicately, as you've been carrying it. And then it is disposed of in the hearth beside them. And the box and plant wither and melt like a gelatinous goo, and then are slowly devoured by the flames.
You'd be an awful scientist, not even remotely worried about the fumes. Well, I'm done here. Bishop!
Bishop begins to lead you out of the cavern, although I believe other people, he'll come and fetch everyone, but obviously Yop wants to leave, so whoever wishes to remain.
I don't want to remain, but Vestra will say to Yop, that was incredibly intimidating.
Bold.
Oh, well, thanks. I appreciate that. I am sort of a badass. You know, perhaps we could get a little tour of the city. I mean, I certainly couldn't do it. Well, you heard the episode. I'd basically holed up in my room last time I was here.
Well, I mean, it sounds like Vicaris is the best to give a tour of the city. Perhaps we could get some drinks and see what kind of trouble we could get into.
Mm,
I would love to. First part, not the second part. I've learned my lesson.
mhm.
I
I
will not be
remember the
creating
last
animal
time.
problems for.
Okay, well, I mean, I don't want to speak for Vestra, but I'm not going to be around that much longer anyway. If I get banished from the city, it won't make a lick of difference.
I cannot be a part of anything that could or could not get you banished from the city.
Okay, well, you can show us around.
I certainly can. He's very excited by this notion, and immediately starts talking about like a gift shop area, marketplace, trinkets and stuff that they can
Gift
take to
shops.
remember.
No, boring. Show me
Pakaris is
something wild.
offended.
Show me something
Oh.
wild.
I don't know. What trinket can I buy with 666,666 gold pieces?
A demon appears.
Oddly enough, there's one item that just came in stock that I can buy for that amount of gold. It's an apparatus Aqualish.
Right. Well, there are a ton of shows to see if you want to see a show.
I don't think any of them are playing our show, though, right?
I'd hope not. There's no way
Also,
they
are
get it
there
right.
still shows going on in the middle of the war season?
Yeah, you gotta keep
Chandria
your spirits
did
high.
warn us that many of the things that. Well, it's worth a look. You're right. You're right.
It's like you've never heard of the USO.
You all can find ways to entertain yourself in the city. They are certainly more sparse than when you traveled here just before autumn fell. But there is still enough civilians here. Not everyone here is a soldier, though many are, and even those who are in service still have leave, and there is entertainment to be found, and certainly drinking to be done, and a merry time had before you return. Oh, don't! Let's go put that on the shelf. Anything anyone needs to state?
Well, here.
All right, very well. Then, as Bishop takes you back to the material plane and bids you all farewell, we will take our 10-minute break.
Adam, we almost got him. We almost got the cars kicked out twice.
Would have been so good. Right. It is very cool. Despite Yop's misgivings, it is very cool. Chaotic dick. Yeah, hell yeah. Right. Right. Yeah, at this point, boom, sending stone in your hands. Congratulations. Hey, as long as you're casting really expensive spells on the lighthouse, maybe you could add to that list the highest level casting possible of fix roof, since we never got around to fixing the leak. Okay. Right. No, I mean, and look, the leak definitively is not a problem because we've just turned it into a water feature of the lighthouse. I mean, all the water's going right out. There's no standing water. It would be sort of neat if it was just like receipts, like, I owe you 1 meal. I owe you 1 meal. Right. Right, exactly. Right. 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 Yeah. Yeah. Right. Right. Yeah. 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 Yeah.
All right. That sounded like everybody at some point. Okay. You return to the lighthouse. Noel goes about procuring objects.
A whole bunch of stuff. Just a whole bunch of magic shit. Half of them I have to like request order in for later because they definitely don't stock them in town. I'm gonna need 1,000 gold worth of incense. Don't ask questions.
Okay. And are you planning on hallowing the
Not gonna
lighthouse?
hallow, but I will cast forbiddance on it.
Okay. What does that do? I don't remember. Not that it matters, but
It just doesn't allow things to sneak. I can essentially say everything but Fae. I don't have it in my book, but I'll put it in my book later.
Yeah, my dog's a celestial, so please
Well,
please let
yeah,
them in.
I'll let Celestial
also,
go through.
Quetzal is a celestial.
Look,
So-
I like Celestials. They're fine. Elementals, I'll have to leave that. Never mind. Fuck this spell. Like going through it immediately, I can only do fiends and undead, which fair enough. That's worth it, I guess. And also, it means
that feels very much in your wheelhouse of it's worth it.
yeah, it proofs against planar travel,
Problematic.
which
Problematic.
it is problematic,
that.
but it does feel like something Noah would do to be like, I'm fucking. I
Yeah,
don't
you know
want
what?
anybody teleporting into my bedroom.
Right.
You guys get to
You'll
appear
just
at
have to
the
take off
casino,
from the
fuck
King's
you.
Cross, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Enjoy our stupid elevator, dumbass.
Right.
Yeah, it's fine. I'll get a Sending Stone. I'll do all of that later.
Yeah, hope those elevator trampolines don't break because you're going to be on your own fixing them.
It does say up to, so we could just distinguish his room.
Okay.
Um,
Mhm.
by the way,
Sorry.
I'm waiting for nighttime. No, you're good.
What are you doing? Yes, tell me.
Okay, so shortly before all the shops close, he is going to go to just a regular ass store and buy 10 shovels.
What the fuck? Okay.
And then when it gets he'll go back home, go to sleep, rather a trance, then wake up sometime like early in the morning. Um, fuck off. Teleport back to King's Crossing with
Okay.
that little thing, not his own teleports. And then summon his
Cocoon.
Ugh, it's wet. Summon Baja Blast. Get on him. Cast Invisible on both of them, technically.
Uh-huh.
So, and then
Damn it.
find his way to where Anders Somner is buried.
He's actually interred in a crypt. Which is
Oh,
up
this
at
is
the graveyard.
way easier than I thought. Then.
Yeah, you won't have to dig him up after all. God.
Cool. Let's put those back. Let's pretend like that never happened.
Yeah. I think you guys have actually like visited his tomb before, so like, so yeah, you wouldn't have to acquire shovels for this. Yeah.
Tight. I had a whole anime objects thing going on now, so I'm kind of upset right now.
You could still do it.
Just on some other body.
Oh God. Oh God.
Yeah. So he'll find himself in the crypt. Is it easy to with my measly fucking strength score? Is it easy to move the part of the crypt so he can see inside?
Baja Blast couldn't get you there.
Perfect. Even better. Good boy. And then he will, remembering how he did this once before, draw a line between himself and Anders and cast Speak with Dead.
All right. And what do you ask?
It's yeah. Um. Oh. Hi. I know we haven't talked in a while on account of you being dead and all. Partially because we weren't here at the time that you died. But I really only had one question, maybe two, depending on the answer. Your life was cut unceremoniously short, and in a rather, in my opinion, a very unfair way. And so, um, you have an opportunity here to come back, but I didn't want to do anything without your explicit permission. So my question is simply, would you like to come back?
If you can bring me back, could you also bring my mother?
Potentially. Do I know how she died and whatnot?
She died of an illness some years ago. Not many, but some.
And do we know how old she was?
She would have been in about her 50s.
Okay. Yeah, that's within my power. Uh, if I bring you back, would you also want me to bring her back?
Yes.
Okay. Well, I'm going to need to prepare some things. Um, but expect to see you soon. And with that, he will finish the spell.
Okay.
And then is she in the same crypt? Is
Mhm.
it like a family crypt? Okay, cool.
Yeah. You would be able to find her with the names uh, uh, placard above them.
Yeah. Um,
Fuck, what is her name?
Petra.
She has one. Petra.
Seventh level.
Remembered that. Holy
Heck yeah.
fuck.
Petra, nice. Well then, seeing how he hasn't really cast a 7th level. Actually, he will go to her, and cast Speak with Dead.
Okay. And what do you ask?
Hi. You don't know me. My name's Akara Shaiwish, and mostly that's unimportant. But I have your son, and wow,
Sorry.
didn't think that
Sorry.
one through.
If you ever want to see him alive again.
Oh
And
wow,
your
I've
son on
already
the
fucked
other
the vibes,
line.
huh?
Yeah. Whoops. Okay, so let's scratch that from the record, please.
yeah, of course.
Greg. Um, so I was
This is the campaign to cast Gift to Gab.
I was just talking to your son, and he misses you terribly. And I have the means to bring you back if you so choose, but I wanted to make sure that you are willing. So my question is, would you want to be brought back to the world of the living?
I think I would to see my son again.
Oh, that's nice. Okay, well, I have to prepare some things, but expect to see your son very soon. I've never seen a resurrection done, have I?
No, but you're familiar with the feeling.
I sure am. Yeah, the plan is to bring my mind. What's his name? Anders. There it is. Wow. Um, him back first. I want to say that it takes some time. Him weaving specific strings throughout different areas of his body, and making sure it's just right. And then from time to time questioning himself, and referring to his little book that he took a lot of notes in when he studied to become this in the first place. And then finally, at the last minute, uh, he grabs it with his 2 fingers, rethinks something real quick, grabs it with his whole hand, yanks it very rough, and casts Resurrect. I got it right.
on Andrew's first, you said?
Anders first, because I don't
Yeah.
want her to know that he died.
Yeah.
That would have been a bit of a shock. And then the next day I would have done the exact same to her, but we don't necessarily have to argue that.
Yeah, once he comes to and is cleaned off and properly like adjusted, you explain um what you're doing and what your plan is, and take him back to his estate, which is a weird scene. Um, but he's only there for about a day before you go home and rest for a while, and then return uh, to his mother and bring her back, restore her to vitality. You see that she looks like an older version of him. Same features, same hair. She does not appear to need glasses as he does. And you do get to see each other again for the first time in some years. And that is a tearful and emotional moment for them.
When he gets a chance, actually shortly after he wakes up, I forgot that I wanted to do this part too. Um, but he'll say, "I don't know if this brings you much solace, but the man who did this to you, he's gone, and he won't be able to hurt you or your family ever again."
There is some confusion, and there is some
Murdered.
uh, you do have to like explain, that neither of their deaths appeared to have been an accident, and that you have in fact avenged them, and that they will no longer be threatened.
And that avenging them was a secret. Because he just mysteriously disappeared. That's all they need to know.
All right. Anything else?
No, he will leave them to live their lives happily.
Okay. Anyone else have anything they need to do? All right. Here comes the fun part. In the months following, as the winter slowly begins to turn and it finally lightens into spring, there is a new order of business that begins to shuffle its way into the Lighthouse franchise of Acquisitions Incorporated. Primarily, Sunny begins taking on a more professional role as a named adventurer, finally shedding the label of intern and leading and managing quests and adventures in the Saltmarsh and Seaton region. Um, in the same degree, both Micah and Toby have begun their contractual recruitment and employment with Acquisitions Incorporated. And you have suddenly a lot of staff around. This is very good for business, and very bad for the crime in Saltmarsh, which ultimately is very good for Saltmarsh. The military proceeds to move through Saltmarsh and begin their empirical expansion into the marshes. But without the conquest, there is alliance made with the lizard folk in a bonding and contractual manner, an order of respect and shared borders, and free trade and communication between the two realms. Um, the people of Saltmarsh are happy to have their old councilman and, in fact, councilwoman back. Everyone remembers Petra and are happy to have her around again. It is passed around, perhaps, that she should perhaps be reinstated. She insists, of course, that her son seems to have managed just fine in her absence, and he, in turn, is shy once again to take on the incredibly stressful responsibility. Vicaris, where do you go?
I guess I would specifically talk to Lady Chandria and see if she took me up on my offer, because that is still forefront in his mind.
I think in the same manner that it is possible for Astrazalian to exist half of its time in the material plane and half of its time in the Feywilds, she fully believes that you are capable of being a sitting member of her council in Astrazalian while residing in the material plane. This will also help her and her connections with the Silver Stand as well.
Perfect. Then he finds his way to the Dreadword to conquer. But no, that's where he feels honestly most at home, and it's not super far from the franchise, so that he can't still have his little adventuring crew from time to time. So he's still, for as long as it lasts, very much a part of the franchise. But spends his days in the Dreadwood.
All right. It's
What do
easy enough for you
Not enough
to
for you.
teleport as necessary there. It's certainly easy to contact the Shadowbreaker and the matriarch of the Silver Stand and tell them like now that we have killed Nightshade and there is political upheaval in this forest, it is time to purge it. And between that and the crew that you have amassed at the lighthouse, those who are appropriately leveled enough uh, associates to conduct an invasion, there is enough strength to upset enough of the balance and enough of the threat that is there that with time and concentrated effort, not only that, but your aptitude with the wild mist of the forest, um, whatever may remain in here flees. And while there are still certainly openings, portals that do just appear in the twisted bark of the forests or through pools of stagnant water where something may arise, you have now an organization that is more capable of predicting and eradicating as necessary. Plus, you have the stronghold of Castle Spiral now vacant.
I like to think he stays there. That just now that in his mind he belongs to the material plane as well as to the Feywild. It's just natural that that is exactly where he would stay in about his days.
Mhm. And is there any important things that he says or does does with his, maybe power isn't the right word, but seat of authority?
Um, he definitely tries to make it a more welcoming area for the materials. Uh, uh, Holding um, festivals from time to time, but he refuses to ever mess with what creates the wild magic, for lack of a better term.
Hmm.
So it's not the best place
Hmm.
in the minds of the material, but it's definitely more palatable, and he sees it as a utopia, although he's probably the minority in that feeling. Um, um, and he sees it as his job to, for lack of a better term, police. Should anyone try and come in and upset the balance, it's he sees it as his duty to make sure that that balance is maintained. Um,
Hmm.
and outside of that, just his time on the council and his adventures with the crew.
All right.
I don't know if they do anything of importance.
um, Vestra, anything that you'd like to note doing into the future?
Yes. I have vast amounts of wealth at Acquisitions headquarters. Um, I would like to purchase like a modest like townhome in Waterdeep with some of the money,
Hmm.
and then place like maybe 10K away in like a savings account,
401k.
right? Like a savings account, right? Because that's an insane amount of money anyway. Like living expenses, right? But
I
not
mean,
like
this is the most expensive city in the realm, but yes, you're right.
yeah. A modest place. It's not like a estate or anything like that, because
Mhm.
she wouldn't be spending a lot of time there. But she wants an improvement from her single bedroom apartment that has like mustard in the fridge. Um, with an attached little what's the word for like horses and stuff? A place for
Stable?
yeah, little like attached stable thing for Urix. A nice a small area that he can run 10 feet back and forth if he wanted to. um, but after that, then I would take whatever money is left over, which would be significant still, I imagine.
Mhm.
I donate all of it to the Church of Kalimvor, and in return, I ask for as many paladins as they are able to provide um, to hunt down demons with Zashel and I.
I think this request will take some time, like take a modest amount of time to fill, as each Doomblade is doing their own shit. But like that is certainly an attainable thing. Organization can be made, and per the oaths they have taken, this is not a trifle for them.
Oh yeah. Um, Once our little squad has been assembled, right? Then my journey will continue with Zashel onward to overthrow a demon prince, and try to help get his friend Krallik's soul back or whatever. I'm just there to kill demons.
Well, Zashel, what are you doing?
Apparently, I'm going demon hunting. Um, Zashel does stay with acquisitions for a while, but at some point, Null goes on his thing, and Vicaris is very often in the um in the in either in the Fae or the Dreadwood. He is going to stay in Saltmarsh. There's not this is where he has sort of left his mark on the world, I guess. I will take some of the ungodly amounts of money that we have and the the rundown and absolute shithole of a haunted house, air quotes around haunted, uh, which was the site of our very first adventure, our very first mission. Zashel is going to buy that. Uh, it still has its smuggling tunnels. It still has the secret passages and stuff. But over time, it will get fixed up and turned into a sort of warm little house where he doesn't stay there. It's just sort of to have when people come into Saltmarsh and don't want to stay in the casino until it does. Zashel's not going to be an adventurer forever. Um, it will become his home in Saltmarsh.
Okay. Prior to your retirement, then, there is the long and terrible trek southwards towards the Empire of Eos, which is just truthfully one of the worst experiences for Zashel, being surrounded by Kelemvor soldiers, and, and with the express intent of just killing things, and perhaps the problem will go away. Um,
So we're not, you guys. We're against just asking this guy to give my friend's soul back. Is my understand? We can't just.
oh, you're welcome to ask, but we're not gonna like wait for an answer.
Murder! Murder!
Murder.
Send them to be judged.
Honor.
Judgment! Judgment!
Judgment.
Okay, you just to be clear, you guys, you understand that when these demons that you killed, they don't really die here, so there's no pay. They just go home,
Uh-huh.
which I mean, kind of.
We get to kill him
Chase
twice,
them?
bro. We get to kill
Yeah.
him twice.
Yeah,
Maybe
chase
3
them
times.
after. They might come back the next day. That rule.
And what if this was the one time they didn't? So,
um, I will say, as powerful as you all are, and as powerful as this contingent would be, this is perhaps not what would
A
be.
good idea.
Well, like, no, it's not. It's not.
oh yeah.
How I see this playing out is that this contingent arrives, puts up the gnarliest, most wicked and baneful fight that the denizens of his keep have ever experienced in the material plane. The first like offensive move against him and his kind in their empire. Um as powerful as you might be, I don't see that there is a way that like you are able to kill him, track him down into the abyss, and squash him into dust. But you do put the fear of death into him and his kind. And when it just becomes an insurmountable, like unstoppable force against an immovable wall of these zealots who will die for this cause, the call has to eventually be made that like it we should call it here. We have done a tremendous good to the people of this countryside by offering them a reprieve and time to heal before these creatures might return. Um, and perhaps cause this demon prince to pause again before expansion. I feel. How do you feel about that?
I grab hold of Zashel's arm after a vicious battle where we have narrowly won victory, and raise it high in the sky and say, "My brother." Zashel."
Delirious from blood loss.
His suit is shredded, just toast, because still not wearing armor, still not walking into a demon's nation, still not putting on armor. It just sort of looks at Vestra like, why are we still doing this?
It's like day
But doesn't
20 of your
say
campaign.
anything. Yeah.
Well,
Like
I
they-
mean, like, I rented them for like a couple months. We're just getting our money's worth.
The worst part is that argument makes perfect sense. Does that? Oh, okay. I mean,
Contract.
I mean,
Got it.
we're already here. There's a contract. Like, all right.
2.5 weeks left on the lease.
Yeah, the money's already spent.
Cast mending on his suit. Pulls up the gloves. All right, let's keep going.
And when that campaign finally ends, head high, Vestra, where do you go?
When that ends, I return back to I'll return back to Waterdeep, and I continue on doing what Vestra had been doing, which is when like not in an take obviously like take a recoup break, but then return back to like hearing the call once more of like there are dangerous things in this area that the people are unable to contend with, and hop astride Uryx, and we ride that way, and that's the life that she has as Doomblade, is eternally fighting against the tides of evil to protect the people of this world who can't protect themselves.
All right. Null.
Ooh, real quick.
Yeah. I think the first thing is to help Yop with her severance. And like
This
on
is this has not been mentioned, I think, since session 1, and you are aware of the difficulty of this paperwork. You,
I
you can't
suspected.
you can't just quit
Mhm.
Acquisitions Incorporated.
Yeah,
Uh,
it's kind of a
What
whole
do-
scheme that way.
What do you mean, Noel? Door's right there. I can walk out.
Mm, True.
Okay.
I mean, hold
Mhm.
on. If we do it this other way, they will not bother you anymore. They may bother you if you do not do it correctly.
Well, all right, but I mean, let them try and bother me. First, let them try and find me, then let them try and bother me. But if you say we should take care of it the right way, I trust you. We should take care of it the right way.
If we cannot, then yes, I will leave first. That way I do not see you leave, and I do not know where you went. So I will
Okay,
not be
well,
legally liable.
Wonderful. Yeah, just tell me what paperwork I need to deal with and where I need to sign.
do you? I feel like you have a something. Is it the
I got Fluent and Boss. I got
what's Fluent Boss?
I don't know. Hold on. Okay, so I
The
got
sentences you and I just said were bad.
I got Gift of Words. I'm pretty
Uh-huh.
good at codes and stuff. I got Fluent and Boss, which just lets me cast Augury.
Oh, that's what that one's called. That sucks.
I got document flexibility, so I can make forgeries.
Uh-huh.
I don't know. Other than that, I just do paperwork.
Well,
I'm
look,
good.
man,
I gotta
I've already unbolted the whisper jar, and Yop puts her hand over the cone of it. I was just going to leave it here, and before heading out the door, tell Jim Dark Magic to suck my dick and just be gone.
Well, okay, so as to not delay you further, I will leave to go about my errand, and if you are not here when I return, then
Then you'll know I've told Jim Dark
later.
Magic to suck my dick. I understand.
Yes,
Wonderful.
Before I leave, which I
Mhm.
intend to do today, in fact, if we are not going to be finishing this, I will put a sending stone in Yop's hand.
Thank you.
There is no good way to phrase this, I suppose. But if I am on this plane, when your time is close, if you would like someone to walk with you.
Oh, well, that's very kind, Noel, but I'll be just fine on my own. And I tell you, if you keep an eye on that mind sharpener, you'll know precisely when I've shuffled off this mortal coil.
He smiles and nods. That is a good idea. I will not walk with you then, but I will make sure that your voyage is smooth.
That's very nice.
Mm-hmm. It was good knowing you.
I love you too, Noel.
Yeah, Noel, like, reaches down for a very awkward hug. I'm not good at this.
Oh, you're doing just great there, big guy.
I'm going to leave now. If they ask where I went, well, fixing the Krellick concern, and to that point, would you prefer, if the option arose, that we brought him back? Or are you satisfied to see him go on?
Oh, well, I mean, I'm satisfied with whatever Krellick wants. It's really his decision. So yes, whichever way he chooses is just fine with me.
Yeah, Noel nods very slowly. That is sensible. I will let you know, then, via this stone.
That would be nice.
Tell Zashel I will be back. Hopefully soon.
Absolutely.
Yeah, without saying goodbye to anybody else, other than to leave, like, instructions with Abernathy specifically, so that
He's
it is
fully capable of doing paperwork.
Well, I no, it's not that. It's so that
Okay.
like Noel isn't just going AWOL, right? Like,
Okay. That's
it's
right. You
making
are
it
under contract.
making it clear I will pay this back. It will happen. And yeah, I will then tug on the string to go meet with the Fate Spinner and begin doing that work with the Clerics of Jurgle.
The what is shown to you when you meet the Fate Spinner is within the reflections of dewdrops on spun webbing. You see that there is the place where Krellick's soul is bound. It has been found. It merely is the lightest effort of hers, now that it has been found, to retrieve it. And her finger swipes across this thin webbing, and that dewdrop sits on her pointed finger, and she extends it to you.
Yeah, I will hold out my hand, not looking at it, making eye contact with her to say, the bargain will be fulfilled when I die.
Understood. And the drop falls into your palm, cold and shallow, and you now have the ability to if you have a means of communicating with the dead at this time, you can.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I will speak to Krellick's. I will cast Speak with Dead to contact Krellick.
All right. And what do you ask?
Do you wish to return to mortal life?
Sean, you do not need to handle this in character if you do not wish to, but what would Krellick's answer be?
I'm so close to getting to Batman now. You have no idea. He's just up ahead.
You are categorically not close. I have. Second question. Reiteration of the first question. Do you want to return to mortal life, or do you want to go on to your proper afterlife?
So you saying I'm like
Sounds like a really good idea.
dead Dead.
Yes, you are quite dead.
I thought I guess that explains it. I mean, every time I get close, he just runs around a corner, and then, like, I'll come around the corner, he's gone, and there's another corner again.
You have
I can't
been-
stress enough that you are not caught by anyone affiliated with Aos, which is just funnier.
You are
Sorry.
intensely, well, I should say you were intensely fucked, but you are not anymore. I can send you to your proper place, or you can go back. The choice is yours. I cannot make it for you.
Well, I suppose Vicoris does need someone to help look after him. And Zashel, well, what would he do without all me, you know? So, how does this work?
Well, technically we cannot speak anymore right now, but you will remain in your current state until I return to your body. At that point, that's just ending the spell.
Oh
Like,
god.
Noel immediately is just just like slumping with the effort of conversing with Krellick is the hardest part of this entire thing. And yeah, I will go to the basically to also do my pilgrimage back to the Clerics of Jurgle, to where the body is currently being kept.
Yeah, yeah. That is easily done. You
Mhm.
can even get in touch with. You can even like connect with Lucky,
Yeah.
and she can bring you there effortlessly.
Yeah, if I
Um,
set up a spot, I could word of recall as well.
Yeah, yeah. So,
Yeah,
yeah.
I bring Krellick back to life. Pretty promptly, like as much as I want to stay for longer in my home, I go back to the lighthouse because the contract work is not concluded.
Do you just turn him loose?
No, I fucking while he's still out of it from being resurrected like this and is still weak, I fucking drag him out of there. I fucking almost piggyback him out before he could touch a single goddamn thing. And then I turn him loose in Waterdeep because it's not my problem anymore. I contact Gav and say, Krellick's in Waterdeep.
Did you at least give him money?
No,
Perfect.
don't get it twisted. My job here is done.
Yep.
Yeah, I think Noel goes on to, I guess, going into macro time. Noel goes on to eventually become the, I guess, for lack of a better word, the Abernathy for the
The major
lighthouse.
domo.
Yeah, the Abernathy. And kind of oversees the continuation of the franchise in its form. His quote unquote reward for a job well done here is to remain here instead of being contracted out to whoever's dying recently.
In that time, in the macro time,
Mhm.
your lifespan is significantly
yeah.
longer, and then made longer also by your contract.
Yeah, I'm
This
only
means
50.
Yeah. This means you do see within the century that Abernathy eventually passes away, and so do a number of your friends.
Mhm.
The major ages and being of similar demeanors, you and he become well acquainted.
Yeah.
Um, and that means that you are there to witness the passing of the wild flame to someone else.
hmm
And then someone else, and then someone else
I think
before.
Noel lives annoyingly because he's contracted like 500 years. Well, he lives to be 500 and a day. Like the exact like just another 450 some odd years of this.
And in that time, Null's name falls to and then just a breath. And there is soon nothing to say when calling the creature that lives within the lighthouse. And
I
this
think
is not so weird so many generations later.
yeah, I think Noel becomes a weird kind of institution for the like the denizens of Saltmarsh. Shows up for every funeral, gives a few words, and then leaves.
Mhm.
Doesn't attend many social functions. Does come into town to heal people occasionally,
Mhm.
It's
but
like it's like you've become the seneschal of this spire.
it's yeah, just become the like old ghost that haunts haunts this place long after everybody else is gone.
Mhm.
And
And
then yeah,
then at your passing, um you have time yet served in spirit
mhm,
as the entertainment and the what's the word? I can't think of the other word. Um uh Enlightenment and philosophical partner of the Fate Spinner for a time.
yeah. I think a lot of the 100 years is Noel just deploying the like litigation skills and the argumentative skills for like
Mhm.
philosophy and stuff.
Mhm.
Just constantly engaged in like philosophical debate with her.
Mhm. Until your time there also ends and you are brought to the deep dark chambers of the eternal records, where you continue to do what you have done since you were dexterous enough to hold a quill in your hands,
Yeah, I think
to the deep envy of all of your peers.
yeah, I get a cushy desk close to the boss, far away from the plebs by the entrance. And yeah, I think Noel eventually just goes on to kind of be one of the like vast horde of like paperwork liches that sort of sits at the feet of Jurgle and is
Mhm.
quite happy with the reward that he has won for the life that he lived.
Could I interject something? An
Absolutely.
addendum to that. Vestros died long ago.
Absolutely.
Correct.
Long ago. And one day, walking the halls, you hear someone like I guess I don't say a thing, but you know I'm calling your name. I'm not sure how that
Yes.
actually works, right?
Correct. Yeah.
Um, but definitely it's like me and my jock paladin friends are, are like,
You
are
caught
like
me at a rare moment at the water cooler.
yeah. But I introduce you to all of them, and I speak very highly of the Scrivener here. But I thought that'd be a fun moment that like
Yeah,
I suddenly I see you one day.
Yeah,
I think
it's like that. It's one of those crazy bits that happens in like TV shows where like the Wild Brothers shows up at work and is like, "Yeah, you're the fucking man," tries to give him a noogie kind of
I
thing.
think especially it's disconcerting for Vestra because with the like just years and years that Noel has lived, and then like Noel's position in the afterlife, Noel is not as warm as Noel once was.
Yeah.
Noel just stares at you blankly and seems to just like look into a far off space.
Anyway, we're just dropping this paperwork off.
He just nods
If you could get this file
wordlessly.
for me, thank you.
He snaps his fingers and hands the paper back, filed and finished.
Excellent, wonderful. All right, see you around. There's a mixer at the City of the Dead if you want to come.
Just stares at you blank face. Turns and walks away.
You do show up.
Shows up, stands just sort of airily in the corner.
A little paper cup in your hand.
Yeah.
Uh, um, speaking of the longevity, before we finish Yop's story, Zashel, is there more that you would like to say that is done before retirement or in retirement?
Well, he had spent some time considering taking the vacant seat on the council, which is no longer vacant, and then uh, had spent some time saying to himself, I don't want to leave Acquisitions Incorporated, but perhaps I could take over for. Oh, Knowles has already taken Abernathy's spot. I see. Well, I
Sorry.
suppose means I have some free time. We do have some islands that we're supposed to see, if you're still interested, Lucky.
I mean, I've got to teach you how to hoist a sail at some point, so.
I still think we need to work on not falling over when waves come. But yes, I will get the sail thing. There is, I suppose, a period in Zashel's life where he's still adventuring with the franchise, but he does lose. Yeah, this is good for him. It 100% is. He does end up. He does go home. Kriv was not young when he was adventuring and spent 30 years of his 80 years raising Zashel to begin with. So at some point, I feel like Zashel has to go home to put Kriv's estate to rest. His father passes, which he knows was inevitable, but that does leave him with a younger sibling and specifically his youngest sister who needs taken care of, and however many children were picked up in the meantime. But that does give Zashel the idea that this is something that he still can do, and he knows from his own life the dangers that adventuring can bring, which is why Kriv began this orphanage in the first place, was to care for the children of fallen adventurers. And so with no interest or real inroad to politics and the franchise in good hands, eventually the home in the small unnamed village is closed up, but the formerly haunted house that was to serve as Zashel's retirement home, not far from Saltmarsh, becomes a thriving, bustling home.
And I think that there is, I mean, as we've talked about, there is a good amount of travel that is done in that time, before that time, and a substantial amount of support from the community and the people at Acquisitions Incorporated that can help um, provide. Missy and Sunny are excellent examples of people who are more than willing to help in this particular endeavor, seeing as they have known similar childhood sorrows. Um, and there is the days where there is times to say goodbye to Liru and to Kriv, and they are, by their own design, not sad days. They are celebrations of an immaculate life lived a and then the growth of something new. It is with some trepidation that your brother makes appearances to offer his assistance. Your sisters, in between their own work as devotional servants of the wilds, uh, likewise provide and teach what they have learned, what they have been taught. And Syrixa is a child similar, after Zashel's own heart in her severity, but soon enough from the family she has, uh, does eventually learn humor. Vicaris.
I do want to add one more thing too.
Yeah.
Stupid and definitely him. Within the wood, there is now a museum to the Lighthouse franchise of Acquisitions Incorporated, and it's mostly just stupid trinkets that he's got along the way. It went from his trophy shelves to like a full-on museum. And like in one, it's dedicated to all the stuff he's collected for teleporting, which is like dust and shards of wood and whatnot.
That ordinarily for for a different type of teleporter, this rubble and garbage would not work. Like, in order for a trinket to be a trinket, it has to have value. But Vicaris puts value into all of his garbage, so let that be a lesson to you guys. Teleporting takes more than just a rock that you found nearby.
Takes a lot of rocks. Like
special
50 rocks.
Special rocks. You're essentially creating a networking map that you can use to get anywhere you want in the world, and that's fine and good. And eventually, your trips back to Saltmarsh to see the people that you know become less and less frequent because you are at once busy at court, and also there are fewer faces that you recognize. And then new faces, and that's all well and good, and you are good at making friends. Is there a point, do you think, where he ever moves from the Dreadwood, either to Astrazalian or perhaps even back home to Senelise, or is this where you think he stays?
I think he would eventually, like right now, he lives in the Dreadwood and visits Astrazalia, and eventually I think that would switch. He would find his home in Astrazalia, um, uh, and then from time to time visit the Dreadwood to make sure everything's running smoothly as he sees.
The tattoos that indicate your position within the courts expand. You have a brilliant crest and crown that is marked at your brow and temples and down your neck. Um, and around your fingers, although you are not a soldier by trade, so it is not your arms that are marked, but the places on your chest and on your countenance. But as a weaver, your fingers are held in high regard, um, and it is marked as such. Uh, you see many dazzling and exciting summers and springs in the material plane in Astrazalian, and bitter, combative, and exhaustive war in autumn and winter. But you are very good at what it is that you do. Um, Days that you are called to the battlefield, you are a force of nature, and days where you are better served at council, you are a blessing and a boon to Chandria, who is not good at those matters. And time may tell whether or not you fully ascend to the court, to the council of stars, but you see your fair share of meetings of the council of stars. You are invited as a personal invitation by the princess. You make acquaintance better with the uh, with the lords and ladies that are there, the high archfey that you've spoken to by chance and then sought out in opportunity, and is with great pleasure. You've seen her before, you lived in her city state, but it is with the greatest honor that you are provided space at the table of the Lady Titania. Perhaps, again, maybe second or even tertiary, but you are there and even have opportunity to speak with her. And for a creature as yourself, this is good enough to let you die.
Yeah, I definitely on that first day at her table, Vikaris would have brought his family along because this is a dream that he's always had, and something that he would want to share, because it's always kind of been important to his family.
Mhm.
More important to him. He's taken that on much more than they did, but it's just a moment to share that the name of Jalashun has made its way up.
And that is a great honor for your family, who has shown to be of two worlds each, and then united they are even a more complicated pairing, and to show that they have been able to sire a being such as yourself that has been able to move from nobility and title but without function to a valued member of your plane's entire society. There is nothing but pride from either of them whenever you speak to them. Yup.
Yeah.
You
So,
about ready to take us home?
yeah, I think so. So, it's probably a few months after the return from Astrazalia that Yop informs everybody that it's time for her to take off. She heads up the coast, which due entirely to the screwy maps of this fucking campaign. I still can't tell you which cardinal direction that is, but up the coast
All the
she
better. They
heads.
can't follow you that way.
Right. Up the coast she heads regardless. Along the way, encounters another turtle looking to mate, and they do, and have several kids. He is not around all that long, probably a couple months before he passes. Yop spends most of that time actually doing a little teaching, but mostly just storytelling, to stories of, Baldur's Gate and her various travels, and of course of the franchise. Betty really functions as sort of the autonomous AI-enabled nanny cam that alerts Yop to any danger as she sits on the beach drinking whatever crazy concoctions she's brewed up. After, a year or so, Yop passes, and Zashul and Vicaris and Noel all become aware of this sooner or later, because the items which she has given to them stop functioning. Betty becomes inert, and the little Yoplets all, spend a little time learning more about living on their own, and, picking over the various items and tools and weapons that Yop has left for them. And slowly, over the course of the next year and a half, one by one, they all wander off to make their way in the world. And eventually, all that's left is an empty beach with a still steel pelican staring out over the ocean. And it's like that for several years, until maybe 2 or 3 years later, one of the kids comes back, having spent enough time now with some of the tools that she took with her to spend a little time with this still form on the beach, and before you know it, it is reanimated, and Betty is off to enjoy more adventures with the next generation. And the beach is quiet for a couple more years until big, strong turtle comes back, and she has a shovel with her, and she's digging furiously in the ground, and it's deeper than she remembers it, right? But it's still there, and she reaches in, and she pulls out Krellik's shield, finally strong enough to carry it. And she heads back out into the world. And I like to think that, maybe years, maybe even decades go by, and eventually we now know, thanks in no small part to the work of Noel, that at some bar in some town, the bar door swings violently open, and one old turtle that we all know and love points at another who we've just met and says, "I think you've got something that belongs to me."
And unless there is anything anyone else would like to add or ask, All right. That is the end. Sorry, the end of our game. Thanks for playing, everybody.
We're